Good evening, everybody. It's Friday once again. Welcome back to my man cave. I hope everybody had a good week. Brother Jeff in Orlando, how are you tonight?
Doing good. Back home.
Man, it's been a beautiful week here at the man cave. It's been sunny, mild temperatures. It's been in the low to mid 70s here all week. It's just been off the hook. It's been beautiful weather. And
Mid to upper 80s.
well, that's not as bad as it could be down there, but I've got a new bottle of one of my favorites here tonight. I've got this Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select. I'm ready to have my Friday night bourbon. You having a drink with us tonight, Jeff?
Absolutely. Got me some Eagle Rare going.
Awesome. Uh, my wife is not going to be with us tonight. Miss Tanya is not feeling well, so she's taking some couch time, and so we won't have her with us. Eric in a hotel room in Tennessee. Andrew, awesome. Glad you guys could be with us tonight. Hank's the Tito's rep. I think Hank works for Tito's or something. I know last week I accused him of living in Texas, and I don't know. I guess maybe the association with Tito's is why I thought he lived in Texas, which is not the case. He's in California. Peter, welcome aboard. Glad you could be with us tonight. So, cheers, everybody.
Oh. John,
Russ,
Mom is in the house.
Mom's having sweet. It says. I don't. I think she didn't finish her thought there.
Sweet tea.
Mom's in the house. Yeah, Mom. Glad you could make it in here tonight. I'll have to behave myself since Mom's watching.
That's right. It's like having Big
Yeah,
Brother around.
that's all right. My mom's cool.
Yes, she is.
Absolutely. Yep. So,
Oh, we got South Dakota.
Logan, South Dakota. Awesome. That South Dakota is a state that I haven't been to, and I want to get up there sometime. I really want to see Mount Rushmore. I know that's probably the cliche tourist thing about South Dakota, but man, it's something I want to see. And Tanya and I, maybe we'll road trip out that way sometime. Margaret's with us tonight, my sister. Okay,
Tag
Margaret,
team.
I've got a bag of pulled pork for you and Lyle in the freezer. I'll try to see if I can bring that your way this weekend. Sharon's up in Virginia. Yep, good to have you with us tonight. Andrew Calumet, Farm Bourbon. No, so Andrew's actually at home tonight. If he's in Nova Scotia, he's not touring the southeastern United States at the moment. All right.
So Hank doesn't work for Tito. He'd like to.
Well, Hank, that's a good thing about Tito's. Tito's is not expensive. It's a good vodka, and it's very reasonably priced, in my opinion. I think the last bottle of Tito's that I bought was $18 or $19. It wasn't bad at all. George in Virginia, awesome. I got some people from my neck of the woods. Jerry's in Ohio. If you're having a drink with us tonight, let me know what you're having. Let me get back over here where I can see these comments rolling through here. Grand Rapids, Michigan, some Coors Light. Awesome. I haven't been to Michigan a lot. Uh, the company I used to work for a company that had a manufacturing facility in Menominee, Michigan, which is up on the Upper Peninsula. And I was up there one December. It was cold, and I remember we flew into Green Bay, Wisconsin, and they had to de-ice our rental car so we could get the doors open. It was so cold and icy, and we had to drive. I think it was an hour and a half or so north of Green Bay to this town up in Michigan. It was crazy. That's the only really about the only experience I've had in Michigan, other than changing planes in Detroit at various times. British Columbia, Fran, glad you could make it with us. Zinfandel, okay. Wine,
We are
I'm
well
not a wine.
represented tonight.
Yes, we are. We got a lot of people from all over and a lot of variety in what people are drinking with us tonight, Jeff. Jeff, did you cook this week?
Does a bear poop in the woods?
What did you cook? What you got going
I cooked.
on?
Oh man, I cooked me some tenderloins out on the bark. They came out great. Cooked my chicken white chili out on the bark.
Yeah, that's a
That's
staple down
almost as, yeah, that is a
there. Oh,
staple. I
you
mean,
think?
Mama and I love that.
Jeff, you need to figure out how to do that. You need to get a not a Dutch oven, but that 7 quart Dutch oven your wife has is not big enough. You just need to get a stock pot, and you
I've
need to
got
work.
got plenty of stock pots.
Well, you need to work yourself like a 16. Get a 20 quart stock pot and work yourself a 16 quart batch of that stuff, and make
Why?
it
I
once
got
a
I
month.
got a 5 gallon stock pot.
I've got you beat, brother. Let me bring you. I have a few pieces of equipment left over from my home brewing. I have a 10 gallon stainless steel stock pot
Okay.
back there, and I also, well, no, I sold my keg. I had a keggle that was a 13 gallon and is made out of a beer keg, but I've still got a 10 gallon, and it's got a lid for it. Do you have any interest in that, Jeff? I'll be happy to bring it to you when I come down next month.
Only thing I can think of is a turkey fryer for it.
It's too big for that even. You'd have to put 6 or 7 gallons of oil in the thing to get it deep enough to fry a turkey in. But I have a 10 gallon stock pot, so
Okay, New England clam boil.
it's too big for that even. Man, I've got small these. I've got a stock pot that's made for my boiler. My deep fryer would do better for that. But 10 gallons crazy. And in fact, I need to get rid of that thing. If I think about it, now that I've thought about it, I'm going to put that on Marketplace and see if I can get somebody to give me $50 for it and get it out of here. So, Northwest Arkansas. Dan, glad you could make it with us. What else did you cook, Jeff?
Getting ready to cook the brisket. I'm going to do Myron's uh, fast brisket recipe. 350, 5 hours, 4 hours
Yeah,
under the blanket.
I
Give
want to
that a
try that
shot.
technique. I want to try that too. And yeah, brisket prices are about back down to normal for me. Sam's Club's got brisket. Well, let's say the new normal. Sam's Club here's got brisket for $4 a pound. Uh, and before the pandemic and before prices started going up, I think we were up around 369 a pound.
Yeah.
For it was running 349 to 369 a pound before the new economy took hold. So I think $4 a pound right now is a fairly fair price. And when you think about how expensive a brisket is, it's expensive because it's a lot of pounds. It's still cheaper per pound than anything else hardly you're buying out there
Yep.
besides pork butts. And I'm still Food Line, man. They're carrying. They got pork butts coming in at 99 cents a pound up there quite frequently, and I've got 5 of those in my in my freezer right now. I'm saving for a cook I'm going to do. So
Yeah, also, we cooked that pizza meatloaf. That came out
yeah,
really good. Kathy did that
okay.
out on the Kamado.
Jerry's asking about grilling some fruit. Uh, I've grilled fruit on a few occasions. Mostly for me, it's pineapple and peaches. Uh,
Yep.
I haven't spent much time grilling anything other than those two because both of those hold up real well on the grill. And let me tell you, when peaches come in, and it's not going to be what peaches come in June, don't they, Jeff?
Start coming in towards the end of May,
To the end of
really
May.
in June.
But some of my summer trips to Atlanta Grill Company will involve some stops along the side of the highway to get some fresh peaches. Peaches hold up real well on the grill, and there's a whole lot you can do with a grilled peach half, including one of my favorite things to do is get it on a searing hot grill, and just long enough to get some grill marks on that face down
Hmm.
side of the peach that you put down after you've pitted it. And this may
That
sound
just
strange, but
enhances the flavor of it.
yeah, if you haven't tried this, make a balsamic reduction to drizzle on that thing when you're done, and even even with a scoop of ice cream, you know there's a lot of things you can do with that grilled peach, but The a balsamic reduction's crazy on that. Adam wants to know about your meatloaf.
Well, Adam, the easiest way to tell you is on Facebook, look up Keto Focus Group and then put in pizza meatloaf, and that's the recipe that I use. It's got, and I add a few things to it. It's got ground beef, Italian sausage, sweet sausage, pepperoni, peppers, uh, Italian seasoning, a marinara sauce, mozzarella cheese. That's pretty much it.
Adam, I'm glad you popped in here. You reminded me that Jeff, I don't want to go any further until I talk about the World Central Kitchen fundraiser.
Do it.
I meant to bring this up to you guys last week. Last Thursday, I kicked off a fundraiser for World Central Kitchen. And most of you guys know that Chef Eric uh, spent some time in Poland and the Ukraine recently preparing food for Ukrainian refugees. Uh, and it reminded me that I wanted to do another fundraiser for World Central Kitchen. I did one before the pandemic, and I set a goal of that one for two 20. I think I set the goal for that one for $2,500, and I raised $1,800 or so over the 30 days when I did that first one. So I thought now would be a good time to do another one. So last Thursday morning, I kicked off another fundraiser for World Central Kitchen. Uh, let me. I'm gonna. If you guys get a chance, go to either my personal Facebook page or to the Man Cave Meals Facebook page, and this is pinned at the top of both. And I just, first of all, I want to thank everybody who has contributed because yesterday, as of yesterday, Adam, who's here with us tonight, Adam's donation took us to the $5,000 goal. I started this campaign out with a $2,000 goal, and last Friday, I got a message from a really great person. He says, "John, I'm going to put you over the top, but I want you to keep the fundraiser going." So I got a very generous contribution to this campaign from one of our followers. And when I got home from our road trips that we did last Friday, I just doubled the goal. I had set a goal for $2,500, and I just doubled it to 5,000. And uh, I hit up all my Facebook friends to contribute, and a lot of you guys contributed as well. But currently, I am at the $5,000 goal, but I would still like to continue having some donations. If we go over the goal, there's no problem with that. Uh, if you can spare $5, if you can spare $10, please go to this page and make a contribution of whatever you can afford for this organization. This organization operates worldwide, and what they do is they feed hungry people who are in difficult situations, whether it be economic, uh, war zones, natural disasters. And they're worldwide. They do it in a lot of places, and I really think this is a great organization to donate to, and I personally donate to these people as well. I wouldn't ask you to contribute anything to somebody that I don't contribute to, and I contribute to these people. And feel free. This fundraiser. I set it up to run for 30 days, and there's 23 days left on it, and I'm already at my goal. But if we hit $6,000 instead of 5,000, that's even better because every bit of that money is going to a great cause. And this is running through Facebook, and Facebook very graciously does not withhold any of that money on their own behalf. Every bit of this money that we raise here goes directly to the organization. Facebook does not keep a cut of that like a lot of fundraising sites will. So I wanted just to take a moment to mention that. I really think it's a good cause, and I would really appreciate your help in making that even more successful. So that's all I'm going to say about that tonight. I don't want to eat up the live stream with talking about the contributions. So that's where I'm going to stop on that. Have hit the goal, but there's nothing wrong with me going over the goal. So please consider it. If you're looking for an opportunity. But Jeff, your brisket, uh, you're going to cook that guy tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow morning, getting up at 6.
and it's going to be a roughly a 5 hour cook using Myron Mixon's technique.
Right at 350. 2 hours open, 3 hours wrapped, and then 4 hour rest under a blanket.
Yep. Okay. I'm looking
And
forward
then
to
make
seeing
some
the
burn
results
ends.
of that. I
Yeah,
am.
so am I. I mean, it's either gonna. Yeah, I got to think it's going to be good. So far, everything that I've tried has come out really good. I mean, we were skeptical on the beef ribs, and they came out great.
Oh yeah. Man, I love beef ribs. I
You and
just
me
get
both,
I just
buddy.
get I just get giddy thinking about beef ribs. And if I could eat beef ribs every day, I'd just be happy.
If we could get the price
Oh,
of beef ribs to come down to what they used to be, I mean,
I
beef
don't
ribs used
care.
to be
I
a,
don't
a
care how
cheap
much beef ribs
commodity.
cost. I don't care how much beef ribs cost. Those big fat beef short ribs, I'll pay for them.
Nothing. Hey, that's a lollipop on a stick.
Oh, it's so much better than that, though. It is. I had fun cooking this week. I did a couple of fun things this week. One of the first things I did this week was this guy right here. I took one. I've got some Porter Road. I've got a good bit of Porter Road meat in my refrigerator, so I'm or in my freezer. So I want to get started working my way through that. And I've got a couple of these really nice dry aged bone in ribeyes from those guys. So decided I was going to try something new, uh, something I hadn't done with a beef or with a ribeye before. So what I did, I'm almost out of this W sauce. I'm going to have to get some more of it. This is my new favorite Worcestershire sauce. It's a little different than your typical Worcestershire sauce because it has some body to it. It's not just a runny liquid. It's got a lot of goodness in it. So what I did was I just dumped a little bit of this in a vacuum seal bag and put that back in the refrigerator. Let that marinate overnight. It marinated for about 14 hours or so in that W sauce, and then I got it out the next day and cooked this guy for lunch. And I decided I was gonna use the gas grill. I was gonna use my Napoleon. My Napoleon has a beautiful sear station on the left hand side. It's got this nice infrared burner on the left hand side, and I just plopped that steak on there and put some nice char on both sides of it, and then I put it inside the grill at about 300 degrees and let it come up to a really nice medium rare temperature. There's a picture of the whole grill, but over here on the left side's that sear station on this one, and here's what it looks like finished. I got me a really nice medium rare cook on that, and I'm guilty. I ate most of that for lunch. It was delicious, and Porter Road's dry aging is a little bit different dry aging than what you and I think of when we think of dry aging. I think their dry aging. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on this, but I think their dry aging happens. They're hanging for 3 weeks before they butcher the whole animal. So I'm not sure. I need to figure that out because I don't think they go through the same dry aging process after it's been cut into primals. It's all done beforehand, but the this was a delicious steak. Logan said he did Myron's method on the beef ribs. Logan, did you get some nice big fat 4 bone racks like the ones Myron did? And the ones I did my rack was bigger. Mine was more of a plate rib than the short rib, and mine took maybe a little bit longer. But how did yours come out, Logan? Were they awesome? Yeah, my sister cooked some beef ribs. My sister, I talked to Margaret about her beef rib cook. I think she was happy with the results. I think she was complaining about how expensive the short ribs were. Um, I didn't get to see this. I don't think she took pictures of them to send me. He had plate. Yeah, 6 hours, Logan. Yeah, that sounds good. But that method, that might become my go-to method on those. I'm going to tweak the technique a little bit because I want to put a little firmer bark on mine the next time I do it. I think what I'm going to do the next time I make those, Jeff, I'm going to run the that first 2 hours where they're in the smoke. I'm either going to do one of two things. I'm going to give them an hour and really low smoke, and then 2 hours at a higher temperature. I may go to 300 or three and a quarter for 2 hours after they've been in maybe a 200-degree smoke for a little while. I want to firm that bark up. I want a little bit tighter bark on mine next time I do it. So I'm going to tweak to get whatever I need to do that. What do you think, Jeff? Hmm? Jeff, your mic's off.
Yeah, I agree
There
with
you
you on that. If I had anything bad to say about it, is I don't think the bark was where you and I like our bark. We
go.
like a little firmer, more intense
Don't get me
bark.
wrong. It wasn't bad. I
No,
wouldn't
no,
call it bad. I think there's room. I don't want to say there's room for improvement. I don't want to sound like I'm critiquing Myron. I
no.
don't.
We all have our own flavors that we
Yes,
like.
yes, we have our own preferences, and I would like to tweak it to come to what I like a little bit better. And there's a couple
Yep.
things I might do there.
The end result was great. I mean, that's those ribs jiggled. They were just as moist and tender as anything I've ever had.
Jeff, there's something else I'd like to try sometime. This has made me think about when I'm talking about bark on beef shorties. I want to run this idea by you and see what you think, because if I float this idea out here, somebody that's listening will do it, and I'll get a heads up on how what kind of results you get without me actually having to try it. So what I want to do, what I want to do is I want to do this again, and I'm going to cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut my rack in individual bones. But what I want to do is I want to drop each one of those in a deep fryer for about 5 or 6 minutes to put my sear and bark together before I go into the smoke. Think about that for a minute. I wouldn't be able to use a typical rub. I would need to go to a salt, pepper, garlic, which is what I
Yeah,
like anyway. Salt. That's another thing. The salt, pepper, garlic, like the Atlanta Grill Company Himalayan Sherpa, it doesn't lend itself to a typical bark as we know it because it's missing some ingredients that are key to forming a really great bark, namely sugar. And the sugar and paprika, that those two ingredients contribute as much to a bark as anything in any of these rubs. And neither one of those exist in your salt, pepper, garlic blend. But I'm curious. I would like to, season my ribs and wrap them up like I always do, and let them go for 12 to 24 hours, and then drop them in deep fryer for a little while. Then put them out there for some smoke. I would after they've been in the deep fryer. What I might do is give them a light smearing of olive oil or something to give me some a better surface for the smoke to adhere to, and give them a couple hours in the smoke, and then finish them up.
I
Any
don't think you're going to need the olive oil. I think you're going to have enough oil left over from your cook in the fryer
well,
that'll be your binder.
what do you think about the idea? Do you think it's doable? Do you think it's feasible?
All things are doable, John. What little bit of fat you have on the top of that is going to crisp up like you wouldn't believe. It's worth a
Uh,
shot. Try anything once, twice if you like it.
well, it's food for thought, man. It's something I'd like to try. I really think there's room for an experiment here. And for those of you who are listening, I'd like to hear your feedback on it. What do you think? Uh, and Cindy, that's a perfect excuse to start making your own.
That's exactly
You know,
what I was going to say.
you know
You
what
control it.
ingredients go in these rubs, and you can mix them up, and you can make a salt free one. And in a lot of cases, I think a lot of there would be merit to having salt free versions of every rub out there. That way, you can control the salt that's going on it, because you may just want to. If I You know how I like to season my meat before I cook and wrap it back up and put it in the fridge. If I had all salt free rubs, the only thing I would put on it when it goes in the fridge is the salt. because the salt's the only thing that's going to dissolve and penetrate the meat. So the rest of that stuff just stays on the outside, and it doesn't get more than maybe a millimeter or less into the meat. So yeah, Scott likes to put the salt on separate. I'm with you. I would love that. Here's the deal. The rub manufacturers are not going to do that because salt is this probably the single cheapest ingredient that goes in a rub, and most of your rubs start at 25% salt and go up from there. So it would really increase the price. And rubs are expensive. You know, a good bottle of rubs, $12 to $14 and up. Uh, so
Yeah, I went 70 miles to get a bottle of rub today.
yeah, and one of the things, there are different sizes. Also, you got to be paying attention. Rubs aren't cheap. Rubs are not cheap. And back early in my game in this hobby, I like to make my own rubs. I still like to make my own rubs, but I am at least now willing to recognize that there are a lot of great commercial rubs. And if you don't want to make your own, you got places to go. All these Atlanta Grill Company rubs are great. These Myron Mixon rubs are great. The Meat Church rubs are great. The Killer Hogs rubs are great. The Lane stuff is off the hook. You know, it just there's something out there for you if you want to buy rubs. But in in my experience with rubs, you got about five ingredients. Five, let's say there's six ingredients that you need to figure out your ratios on. You got salt. Well, or no salt if you want to make it without salt. You've got garlic. You got a pepper of some sort, whether it be black pepper, white pepper,
Cayenne
salt pepper,
pepper.
salt, pepper, garlic. Your SPG is going to be everywhere. You're going to have onion. Onion's a big ingredient in a lot of these rubs. Paprika, which is another pepper, but every rub you see that's red has got a good bit of paprika in it. So, yeah, my mom likes the man cave rubs. And what's my sixth ingredient is sugar. Uh, it may be plain white sugar. It may be your less refined sugars. It may be brown sugar. Uh, whatever kind of sugar. Those ingredients all come together and make great barbecue rubs. Uh, the rest of the stuff that's in there is designed to sell you the rub based on aroma. I like rubs that have a little bit of cinnamon in them. I've got like rubs that have a little bit of nutmeg or clove, coriander, stuff that brings the aroma out. But here's the truth. All that stuff that you can smell when you open that rub bottle and get a little taste. Cumin, yeah, cumin's in a lot of rubs. Cumin's one of the greatest ingredients in chili powders. But when you take that finger taste and you get that aroma when you open that bottle, that's what's selling you on that rub. All that is gone after the cook. Not much of that comes through. Sometimes it will, depending on what you've cooked and how you've cooked it. But on barbecue, for instance, briskets, pork butts, all that aromatic goodness that makes that thing smell so crazy when you open the bottle is gone after the cook. Those six ingredients that I mentioned, if you write those down and start playing with your ratios, and maybe I'll come on here. Maybe one night we'll have a live stream discussion on making your own rubs. I don't have a problem with that, and I can tell you some of the things I know and how I formulate my rubs. Like the Atlanta Grill Company Man Cave Meals series, those three rubs, the AP Mojo, the Pork Mojo, and the Beef Mojo, those are my recipes that I developed. And I can tell you how I can't give you the recipes for those, but I can tell you how I started. And I always start with salt. I start with a certain amount of salt, and then I add other ingredients to it until I've got the flavor I'm looking for. I start with salt and then garlic. I add garlic. I use granulated garlic. I add it to that until I like where I am, and then I bring the black pepper in, and then I bring the onion, granulated onion in, and
And that's a good point that you made, John. What you're telling everybody is put an ingredient in, put your second ingredient in, taste. When you can taste that second
yeah,
ingredient, leave it alone. go to your third ingredient,
And you
bring
have to
it up
keep
to
up with
flavor.
how much you've put in there. You have to make notes while
Write
you're
it
doing this
down.
because you got to be able to duplicate it. And I like to do this by weight, and
Hmm.
I'm measuring them in grams of how much I've put in there. And I know I've done this long enough now that I know where my ratios are on salt, pepper, and garlic for stuff I like to make. I know where my salt, pepper, garlic starts, and I like to use MSG in my rubs. That's why the Man Cave Meals rubs, that really the AP Mojo is the only one that has any significant amount of MSG in it. The the interesting thing about the pork mojo and the beef mojo recipes are they start out with a fixed amount of the AP mojo, and then I've added additional ingredients to it. So the amount of MSG that's in uh, AP mojo is less than 2% by weight, and it's way less than a half a percent by weight on the other two because there's no additional added, and there's a bunch of other ingredients added behind it. But it's something you just have to play with. Coffee, yeah, Scott, coffee. My beef mojo's got coffee in it. I think that's an important ingredient in a beef rub. It really is. So
Eric, you used the beef mojo on the
yeah.
pork Cheez-Its. Try
Mhm.
AGC's honey pecan.
Yeah, try
That is
every rub
off.
you've got in your arsenal on those Cheez-Its because all of them work great.
All of them are good.
My favorite one so far is the Argentina steak from Atlanta Grill Company. That one and stirring, that rub is my favorite because it's got a lot of herbs and a lot of aromatics in it, and I think that works great on those. But anyway, yeah, that's maybe
That's
we'll
what we
have.
need to do, John. Have a one night discussion on nothing but rubs.
Okay, if you guys are interested in a talking about making homemade rubs on a live stream one Friday night, leave me a comment. Let me know. And if there's a good handful of you that would like to hear more about that, uh, we'll do it. The reason you can't make some of these commercial rubs at home is because you don't have access to some of the ingredients they're using, and we'll talk about that and what it would take for you to be able to make those at home. It's expensive, so uh, we'll figure it out. Jeff, like the honey, for instance, that's freeze dried stuff. That's
Yep.
and it's powdered. You can powder honey by freeze drying it and then grinding it
Hmm.
into a powder. You can do the same thing with cheeses. You can do the same thing with fruits, and it's very very expensive. I don't know if Darren's with us tonight, but Darren's got a freeze dryer, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the stuff he's going to do with that because he's got the ability to do that now.
Get a canister of nitrogen and you're good to go.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Mm.
Anyway, this is my next project this week. I published this video today, by the way. If you This video is on the Atlanta Grill Company YouTube and Facebook pages. I made a man cave rendition of Osso Buco, and what you're seeing in this picture here is two really nice beef shanks from Porter Road. Uh, these come in a 2-pack from Porter Road, and these are about a pound. These are about these two combined weighed 2.2 pounds, so they're about a little over a pound a piece, and they were an inch or an inch and a quarter thick. I didn't measure them, uh, but what I did, I seasoned these guys up with my AP Mojo, and I put a nice liberal coat of that on both sides of these, and then I vacuum sealed them and tossed them back in the refrigerator overnight because, as you know, that's the way I do it. Next day, I got them out of the fridge. I chopped an onion. I chopped some garlic. I got some avocado oil and a little bit of my cooking bourbon out. And on my propane stove, I got my Le Creuset brazier, put a little bit of that avocado oil in there and let it get nice, let it get to where it's just starting to smoke. And I tossed these guys in there and I put a sear on both sides of these, and then I took the shanks out of the pan. I tossed my onions in and let those start to become a little translucent. Or actually, what I didn't take a picture of here is I deglazed that pan with some of that bourbon. I put about, I don't know, 3 tablespoons or so of bourbon in that pan, maybe a quarter of a cup. Deglaze the pan with the bourbon, and then I toss these onions in, let them start to cook. Then I toss my garlic in just until the garlic starts to get fragrant. You don't want to overcook the garlic. Then I turn the heat off, put my shanks back in the pan, and then we took the pan to the smoker. I was running the Myron Mix and Bark here at about 225, and I just put it in there just like you see it, uncovered for an hour, and let some smoke get get onto the beef and into the onions and garlic. And at the hour, while that was doing its thing, I harvested a little bit of greenery from my herb garden. I cut off one sprig of rosemary. I cut off a few sprigs of thyme and a couple of really fat sage leaves. So at that point, here's what we look like after an hour in the smoker. You can see that this has taken on some color from the smoke. So here I added uh, 2 cups of reduced sodium beef stock and 1 cup of Guinness stout beer. And then I tossed in the herbs. I put the cover on it, and I ran the temperature in the smoker up to about 275. And we gave those guys about 3 more hours or so in the smoker. And when I was getting close to the point where those are done, I decided I was going to serve these things over a bed of stone ground grits. And for anybody that's interested, I'm a huge fan of these Marsh Hen Mill stone ground grits. This company's in Edisto Island, South Carolina. They're formerly known as Geechee Boy Mill, and these bags that I got came before they got their newly branded bags. So I like the yellow grits. They sell white as well, and they also sell a 50-50 mix of white and yellow. But I like the yellow, so that's what I buy. My wife likes the yellow. So I got my double boiler out, got it going, dumped my grits in there, and one of the secrets I think to making great grits is the liquid that you cook the grits in. And since I use beef stock in my other dish that we're making here, I decided that I was going to use a 50-50 mix of beef stock and whole milk. I would have used half and half. I just didn't have any. I didn't think to buy any when I went to the store. So your ratio for cooking these stone ground grits is 1 part grits to 4 parts liquid. So I cooked actually a half a cup of grits. I used 1 cup of beef stock, 1 cup of whole milk, and this takes about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour for that volume in a double boiler to get them done. So I just let these guys cook. You stir them about every 10 or 12 minutes during that process, and here they're just starting to get good and thick. And here's what we look like after about 3 more hours on the smoker. And what you don't see in my photographs here is with about 30 minutes or so to go on this, I made up a little cornstarch slurry and dumped it in our braising liquid because I want to use this liquid as a sauce on this. I don't want it to be thick like a gravy. I just want it to be holding together. So I think I probably used a tablespoon or maybe 4 teaspoons of cornstarch and about 2 tablespoons of water. And I dumped that in there and stirred it in and let it sit, and it thickened up nicely. I know it's hard to see that how that's thickened in this picture, but here's my plated version. I put a bed of those stone ground grits in a bowl. I set the shank on there, and then I drizzled some of that sauce across the top of it. And I have some freshly chopped flat leaf Italian parsley out of my herb garden. I got to use 4 herbs out of my herb garden for this cook, so I was extremely happy about that. And let me tell you, this was crazy. The flavor on this is off the hook. This like I said, this is a man cave version of Osso Buco. A traditional Osso Buco is going to be made with the you're going to do what is it, Jeff? Onions, carrots, and celery and tomato paste.
Yep.
Onions, carrots, celery, tomato paste, and then your stock. That's a more traditional osso buco, but I've been doing I've been doing a lot of stuff. If you follow me regularly, I've done a lot with beef stock and Guinness in the past. I've done beef ribs that way. I finished beef ribs in a Dutch oven with that same mixture, and I like doing Jeff. Jeff likes shepherd's pie, and I like doing shepherd's pie
Hmm.
with beef stock and Guinness as well. And the reason I started that is because the first time I decided to do a video of beef bourguignon, I wanted to make it a man cave version, and instead of using red wine, I used Guinness, and that's how I kind of figured out that beef stock and Guinness is a match made in heaven. Uh,
Yes, it is.
now beef bourguignon is good, but it's a beef stock or a chicken stock. Is it beef or chicken stock, Jeff? I don't remember.
Beef. It's beef.
Yeah, I guess it would be beef. It's beef stock and a red wine, and that's beautiful. That is a beautiful classic French flavor. But I don't know where this. I don't know if you call this Irish or English or what, but it's not something you would find in a
We'll call
French
it man cave.
man cave. Call it Burke County. Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But guys, you could make this your own. If you don't want to use beef stock and Guinness, use beef stock. Use your favorite beer. Use your Coors Light, or use an English ale. Use a light colored beer, or use a hoppy beer. You can totally tweak the flavor of what this braise and this sauce is going to come out like by what liquid you put in there. Uh, Thoughts, Jeff?
Sounds like a plan to me. I like. I'm in complete agreement with you because my shepherd's pie. I use the beef stock and the Guinness. I mean, what shepherd pie wouldn't have Guinness in it?
Oh man, it's good stuff. Guinness Guinness has a distinct flavor. It leaves a distinct. It kind of brings a coffee note along with it when you cook it like this, but it's got that deep. The malts that are used to make Guinness are really dark crystal malts. They're
Eric
toasted.
had a comment that I put up earlier. Have you ever toasted the grits before cooking? I have
I
never
have
toasted
not.
grits before
I've
cooking.
not heard of that. Eric Rank.
Yeah,
What the
Eric
Eric
Smith.
Smith? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I haven't, Eric. I'd like to hear more about that. You toast it before you cook it. I'm not familiar with that.
I'm not
Uh,
sure what the benefit of that would be, except maybe bringing out a little nuttier flavor to it.
well, you could potentially. What I'm curious about is if it changes the water ratio when you do it. I'm curious about that. Maybe that might be worth experimenting with. And Jeff, I might toast a percentage of the grits instead of the whole batch. That might be able to brown up. Take 20% of it or 25% of it and toast it, darken them up. I'm curious about that because that's intriguing. I have not tried that. No, in
Yep,
fact, I've not.
it sparked a curiosity with me.
I've not even heard of that before, so I'm curious.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It says it's a bit nutty.
Yeah, it sounds
It might
good.
add a nice note to it.
What I think would be really good is if you could toast the corn kernels before they were ground into grits. Uh, I don't grind my own grits, and that's something I've considered. I've toyed around. I don't know how many times with the idea of buying a grain mill, and I've looked at them. I don't know how many times, but it's a lot of money, and it's something that I don't think I would use as often. Uh, I'll have to talk to my wife about that. If I can come up, my wife loves grits, and if I can come up with the idea that I can make stone ground grits here, it might ease the pain of putting. I won't call it pain. The stuff, the mills I looked at that I liked were somewhere between $500 and $600. But if I was going to use it regularly, I would be able to swallow that a lot better. But Eric, I'll look into that. I'll see if I can find something about that because I'm curious. Yeah. So Honorog says he's got a fabulous recipe for grits. I'd like to hear about it. Post it up. or do it and show us some pictures of it. That would be uh that would be really good. So where are we next? Okay, guys, yesterday I fired up my Alpha once again. I love this oven, and this oven doesn't get as much airtime as I'd really like for it to. If I if I was not a Kamado and pellet grill guy, this this thing is every time I use this oven, I become more fond of it. I really like cooking on it. And in the beginning, my first experiences with wood fired ovens, it took me a while to get used to cooking on one of these things. And especially when I'm making video, you have to plan things just right and get things going. So, but when I'm not making video, which I wasn't making video yesterday, I decided I'm going to cook lunch on the wood fired oven. So I fired up the Alpha and let it get nice and hot. And I bought some Brian. If you need prodding one way or another, let me know. I'll help you figure out which one to get. Uh,
Definitely. The one or the 5 minuti.
well, it's all based on the space you need. And like I said, if I had this to do over again, I would have bought the 5 minuti instead of
Yeah.
the one. It's not a whole lot bigger, but it's got a bigger opening in the front, and there's a lot more versatility with that one.
That's the key on that one is the bigger
But then
opening.
again, if I had it to do over again, also I might buy the gas version of the one. I don't know. It'd be a toss up for me because they're
No.
anyway. Yeah, I bought some Chilean sea bass fillets at Costco on my last trip down there, and I wanted to get one of them cooked. I know I told you last week I was thinking about doing a video on it, and I didn't. I, but what I did today, or what I did yesterday, I'm probably going to do over again and make a video because this came out so well. I was so happy with this. But I took this nice fillet here and I seasoned it with the Atlanta Grill Company River Street Seaboard, not too heavily. You don't want to. One thing about Chilean sea bass, and Jeff, I hope you'll back me on this. You do not want to over season this
No.
fish because this
Less is
fish has
more.
beautiful flavor. You don't want to cover it up. You just want to kind of complement it a little bit. But I seasoned that, and I got my oven nice and hot. As you can see here, I've got a blazing fire going in there. I wanted my oven to be somewhere between 500 and 600 degrees, so that's where I went with it. And
But
I took
John, I'll
one of my,
stop you there.
yeah.
I'll stop you there. I think the Alpha one oven, and it could be any of the Alphas, I think that is the ultimate fish cooker.
Oh
I have
yeah.
cooked fish. I have cooked fish in the pan like you on cedar planks. I think it comes out far superior than any method that I've done, including the soapstone.
Well, the thing I like about it is the heat. You cannot make this kind of heat in any other. You
No,
can't do this in a Kamado. You
no.
cannot make the heat and the intensity of heat with any other cooker that I'm aware of. Well, I take that back. You might be able to pull this off in a broiler, but I think I haven't tried this yet in the Auto Wild. I'm going to do that next, so we'll figure that out.
You could do it
I've
in the
got
auto wild.
well, I've got two fillets out of this pack, so I'm going next week for lunch one day. I'll do the other one in the Auto Wild, and we'll see how we go. But uh, I took my pan. I just used my small Finex pan here. This is an 8-inch pan. I set it in there. I wanted to get the pan hot to start with. I didn't want to start in a cold pan. So I let the pan get good and hot. Then I pulled it out and I put about 2 tablespoons of butter in there and let that butter melt. And I put the pan back in there to let that pan get hot again after putting that cold butter in. And then I put my filet in there. And I decided I'm just going to put this in there skin side down. Uh,
Hmm.
I didn't want to worry about, you know, the skin on this particular cook because I actually, had I had this method to do over again, I might have even taken the skin off. But here you can see I have put that in there and I've basted the top of it a little bit with some of that melted butter and I just tossed this guy in there and let it cook. and it didn't take long. I didn't time it, so I can't tell you exactly how long it took to cook. I was just watching it, and I was also using my thermometer. I didn't want to let it get over about 140 degrees in the thick part of that fish. So I kept checking it, kept moving it around, and basted it a little bit. And near the end of the cook, I put another small pat of butter on top of it and let it just kind of melt down across the top. And here you go. This is looking at it about the time it's done. It's kind of hard to see in this picture, but the texture of this fish is just perfect. Here you can see it a
Nice
little
and
bit
flaky.
better. Yeah, it's you can see the flake. You can see the flakiness in this. This fish has a really interesting texture, and it is just melt in your mouth tender when it's not overcooked. Here's another picture, and this it's just crazy at how this came out. And I got another kind of a close up picture of it here. I took it out and I just put it on one of my cutting boards, and I got my fork out and I set out on my table on the man cave party deck, and all that's what I had for lunch is that piece of fish. I didn't have it. I didn't make anything to go with it. I just ate the fish,
Gorgeous
and
looking.
it was crazy, Jeff. It was absolutely off the hook.
Brian says
Brian,
he's going to look into the Minuti. Uh,
yeah,
the only reason why I say the five Minuti is because of the bigger opening, because the deck space really isn't that much bigger. I mean, you're
it's
talking 1 inch one way and 2 inches the other way.
no. I
So I
think
mean,
it's the
it
same width. It's the same width as the Alpha One, but I think it's 4 inches deeper.
yeah,
But
it's a little deep. I said square inches aren't that much. It's the opening.
yeah,
That's the key.
the opening on it. Let me go back and show you. See if I've got a picture here where you can see the whole opening. I didn't do one, or did I?
Cindy, that was Chilean sea bass.
This opening, this is really hard to see. This opening on the Alpha One is not really big enough to get a Dutch oven through.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard to say. The Alpha, the 5 minuti, that opening on the front's wider and taller. I don't know if it's wider. It's at least taller than this one. Maybe I
it
can
might be
get
a
the
little wider, but it's definitely it's a lot taller. You can put the Dutch
yeah.
oven in there, and that's if you want to cook Dutch oven stuff, that's good. As far as cooking for four people, the Alpha One or the five Minuti is going to do it. I mean, you're talking about pizzas, 90 seconds on a pizza.
And Cindy,
Yeah,
yeah, that was sea bass. But uh, Brian, the number of people you're cooking for doesn't really isn't really going to determine so much the size unless you're doing pizzas. Uh, now, pizzas in the I don't think you're really going to gain an advantage on pizza so much with the 5 minuti versus this one. Um,
no.
I don't think you. I don't know if you can get two 12-inch pizzas in a 5 minuti or not. I'd have to ask Luca that. I don't think you can. You'd have to move on up to the Brio or to the four pizza model to get multiple pizzas going. I don't think this is a one pizza at a time deal, but one pizza at a time is not really a problem as fast as they're coming off if you're cooking hot. So uh, I started out with the four pizza. If you guys have been around, the first one of these I had was the four pizza. And it's big, and it's so big that it was way bigger than I needed. And it was so big that I didn't enjoy cooking on it so much because most of the cooks I were doing were smaller. This thing really is almost a perfect size for me. I do think the 5 minuti would be a better setup for me in terms of size, but it is what it is. And I'm going to continue cooking on this one. Um, yeah, Don was looking at a 5 minuti, but was able to get a
Yeah.
deal on a Brio. Yeah, that Brio
That
with
is the
the
nice
gas
thing about the
stove
Brio,
option.
dual
That's a
fuel.
good. That's a good deal. That's an expensive oven, though. It is. It's now the one is gas or wood. They don't have a dual fuel model of the one, which is what I have. I've got the wood version, but they do have the Brio, which can run both fuels. Uh, yeah, Hank likes the one. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody that's got an Alpha oven that doesn't like their oven. I love my Alpha One, and all I'm saying is that I might be a little happier with the 5 minuti than I am with the Alpha One, but
Yeah.
I'm not unhappy with this Alpha One. Uh, when I cook pizzas, I'm only cooking one pizza at a time, and when I'm cooking, when I cook pizzas, when Tanya and I do pizzas, I do cook two pizzas, and I make up both pizzas, and I take them both out there, and I'm on the oven for I don't know, less than 2 minutes per pizza. I cook one,
Yeah.
take it off, set it aside, cook the other one, take them up there, and they're both hot. They're both ready to serve. They come off quickly. The four pizza, if you want to cook more than one pizza at a time, you need to go on up to the four pizza. I don't know what the dimensions are on the Brio. I don't know how big the deck in the Brio is compared. I think it's bigger than the 5 minuti, but it's smaller than
Yes.
the four pizza. So it's
It's
somewhere in
in between
between
the two.
the two. They haven't had a Jeff. They don't have a Brio on the showroom floor at Atlanta Grill Company, do they? I don't think I've seen one.
Uh, I thought there was the last time I was there, but I could be
Maybe there
mistaken.
is. I don't remember. So I'll have to look. I don't think I've had
He's
enough.
got four on display there right now.
Yeah, he's got the Allegra, the big one, the four
Hmm.
pizza, the one, and the 5 minuti. So I don't know if they have a Brio. I don't know if they had a Brio on the showroom floor. I'll find out. Anyway, but guys, come out to Atlanta Grill Company on June 4th if you can make it, because Alpha's going to be there. Freddie from Boston's going to be there, and Mike Stone will be there. And I don't know if they got other people coming. Those are the two I know from
Hmm.
from Alpha, and I'm really looking forward to meeting Freddie.
He'll probably have the regional rep there. I
Yeah,
forget what his name was. I met him over here at the Ace show when I was slinging pizzas over there. That was fun. You know that Myron's going to be there and his
yes,
crew.
Myron Mixon is coming, and I did get word from somebody that Malcolm Reed is not coming. I don't. I don't know if Killer Hogs is going to be. I think they're going to be represented, but I don't think Malcolm's coming. I'm not. Don't hold me to that, but somebody did tell me either yesterday or today that they heard that Malcolm was not going to be there. So if I find out otherwise, I'll definitely let you know. Yeah, Anthony, I need to get back down there. I've got to go to Atlanta. I'm probably going to try to go the first, uh, maybe next week. Uh, if not next week, the first part of the following week, I need to run down there too. Jeff, when are you going to be able to go back down there?
Well, Monday through Thursdays are out for me because I got the kids. I got the grandkids. Friday
Yeah,
is my day. Let me check my social card here and see
yeah.
see what's available here.
Andrew says the pizza
Uh,
oven's on his wish list. So,
I
Andrew, have
could
you
do the
looked?
6th or the 13th.
Okay, well, those are Fridays.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll figure it out. One or the other. We'll get together down there. Andrew's looking at
Andrew
pizza.
says,
Think about pizza oven. So
I wish people would quit calling it a pizza oven because
yeah,
it's
well,
so much more
Alpha hates
versatile than
that.
a pizza oven. It
It
is a
is, but
wood fired oven that you can cook pizzas in, you can do steaks. They've got, matter of fact, my daughter got it for me for my birthday. It's the round
the
insert that goes
barbecue,
in it that you can put
the
steaks
barbecue
on and you can
500.
spin. Yeah, you can spin the steaks on it.
Does it
So,
fit in this oven?
yep, it does. It does. And I say it's so much more than a pizza oven.
Yeah.
And like I said,
This
it's my go-to for doing fish. I would
this
much rather
oven
do
will
fish
change
on
the
the
way you
Alpha.
think about cooking too. This oven, you have to. What I'm going to tell you up front, this oven you have to kind of forget about some of the things you know about cooking and temperatures. You have to
Definitely.
realize this oven cooks differently, and you have to adjust your methods to how this oven behaves, and it's not hard to do. If you have any direct questions about how you might want to approach something, let me know or let Jeff know, and we'll tell you the tricks you need to know. Sometimes
There
you
is a
want to put
learning curve.
Yeah, sometimes you want to put some fire bricks between your fire and your food. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes I do that because this oven is cooking
Particularly if
food.
you're baking.
Yeah, This oven's cooking food with three different heat methods. You've got conductive heat because that deck is hot. You've got convective heat because of the air that's moving around, and you've got radiant heat because the line of sight between your food and the fire. And a lot of times I want to take that line of sight radiant heat out. So I've stuck a couple of fire bricks in there where my food can't see the fire. And that slows down the cooking process. And it's really weird how that works. It could be, let's say it's 500 degrees in the oven. It's going to be 500 degrees in the oven, whether you've got that radiant heat or not. But taking the radiant heat out of the equation still slows down the cooking process. It, it, it just does. And I don't know if we want to get into the physics of how that works or not. But yeah, Andrew, you'll find yourself cooking a lot of stuff in here. I like to cook lasagna in that oven. I like to cook my focaccia in this oven. I like to cook. As you see, you can do a lot of one pan dishes in this thing. I've cooked chicken. I cook chicken pieces, chicken leg quarters in the cast iron pans with vegetables. You have to par cook your vegetables. You have to get them started early. Like if you want to put potatoes and
Mhm.
carrots, they take a little longer to cook than chicken actually. So, Peter, there are some alternatives, Peter. And in fact, I saw one today that piqued my interest, and I can't remember what it was now. Jeff, I saw it in my Facebook feed. It was a $500 or $600 pizza oven. Peter, you need to look at the Uni. What's that Coda 16, Jeff? What's that thing called?
Uh, yeah, I know
Peter,
what you're
look
talking about.
look at Uni, OONI. Look up that brand. They've got their ovens are tabletop ovens, but they've got a 16-inch one that is. I think it's multi-fuel. I think it's wood or gas, and it's a lot less expensive than something like the Alpha. Now the Gosney Rock Box that I have, they sell that at Atlanta Grill Company. That is a smaller version of this. It's gas fired, and there's a wood fired option if you want it to add on to it. But the Gosney Rock Box is really nice also, but it's small. It's harder to get. I could cook with my 8-inch pan or maybe my 10-inch pan in that oven. In fact, I need to do something. Jeff, that's what I need to try next. I need to try this fish in the rock box. that that but that rock box, the rock box is $500, and the Uni Coda is in that price range also. I think it may be the 16-inch version may be a little more expensive than that, but it's a really. I I stood in front of one of those for the very first time at a Williams Sonoma the other week. They had one of those, and I don't remember what it cost. It may be on up there, but it's not as expensive as the Alpha. It's
Yeah,
I
I wish
know.
I could say something, but I can't.
Why not? You
Uh,
can.
it's not in production. It's going to
Oh,
be, but it's not
something
in.
new coming out.
Yeah, buddy.
Something from Alpha.
No, no,
Okay.
no. But
Well,
it's going to be a game changer, and it's very reasonably priced.
well, that'll be good. Awesome. So that's all I've got. I'm not going to run incredibly long tonight like we did last week. But like I said, guys, at this point in the live stream, we're done. We're done talking with everything I had planned to talk about. So if you need to bail out, I appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll be back next week. Chef Eric, I did have a very brief conversation with Chef Eric this week. He said he'd like to come on and talk about his trip with World Central Kitchen, and hopefully be able to look at a lot of photos that he made and talk about those. He hasn't committed to a Friday yet. I told him to pick a Friday that suited him, so maybe we'll be able to get him on with us here sometime soon. Uh,
You're over 5,000 on your donations.
are we? Good deal.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Hopefully, it was somebody that's listening with us tonight.
it was.
But I really appreciate those of you who have donated to that. That's a great cause, and I'm probably going to start doing two fundraisers a year, and World Central Kitchen is going to be one of them. and I'm going to do one. I'm going to do them in 6 month intervals. So 6 months from now, I'm going to do another one, and I'm thinking about sharing the fundraising efforts between World Central Kitchen and Operation Barbecue Relief. Some of you may be more familiar with Operation Barbecue Relief. They operate in disaster areas and natural disasters situations, and they prepare barbecue meals for people that need food. People who have been displaced, and they also feed first responders and stuff who are working the scenes of these events. So, yeah, Anthony, we hit $5,000 yesterday. So,
5,025 right now.
yeah, excellent. So, yeah, Anthony, check out my personal Facebook page or the Man Cave Meals Facebook page, and it's pinned to the top. If you'd like to contribute $5 or $10 to that, we would appreciate it. Or if you, I don't know,
And,
you may have already contributed. I can't keep up. I've
and,
got 50 plus people contribute already.
and any of you people who are interested in the bark cooker that John and I have done so many posts on, come join the Myron Mixon Bark group. Always looking for new people. It's growing quickly. A lot of
Yeah,
good recipes. John's been posting videos out there.
yeah. We Jeff created a Facebook group called Myron Mixon Bark BARQ enthusiasts. If you search Facebook groups for Bark BARQ, you'll find it. And there's a lot. There's not just me and Jeff. There's quite a few other bark owners that are posting their stuff in that group. And I love this pellet grill. This pellet grill is the first one I've had out of. This is the fifth one, and it's the first one I've fallen in love with. So I'm real happy with it. It's crazy. It's
It's a flipping beast. I mean, there's just no getting around it. It's a little expensive, but it's something that you're not going to use it 2 or 3 years and have to go replace it. This thing is
right.
there for a long time.
Yeah. And Cindy said, we need your pictures too, Jeff. Jeff, you need to remind me. This is something I need to bug you to do. You need to start taking more pictures when you're cooking, and you need to send me those pictures so we can look at your pictures on the Friday night live stream and talk about what you've cooked as well. You got to start
I'll
just
start sending them to you. I
send
say
them
they're
out.
on Facebook, so I'll send them to you.
Okay, or that, or we can just go through. We can pick them off of. I can pick them off of Facebook, and we can set them up here in our screen
I'm going
share.
to take a lot of pictures of this brisket tomorrow that I'm doing
Good. Do
through the whole
because that's a
process.
technique. That's a new technique for me. I haven't tried it yet, and I'm sure everybody here will be interested in it. A 5 hour brisket. That's a big thing. Well, one of the things people. One of the intimidating things about briskets, how long it takes to cook one, and this method. This, Myron has he did this timed method with beef ribs, which works. And this timed method with brisket seems to work also. So you can have a brisket done in what total time 9 hours, right?
Yep.
5 hours of cook time and 4 hours of rest time. So
Well, he
you can
says a
start
minimum of 2 hour rest time, but he recommends four. So I'm going
right.
with the 4 hour rest on it
You can
under the
you can
blanket.
start that brisket in the morning and serve it at dinner that night. And
Yeah, regardless.
the temperature he's cooking at allows that to work out that way. If you want to cook it at 200, 225 or 250, you're going to be at the mercy of the meat itself, and this one you won't be. So, but I'm curious. I want to see Jeff's results also because I know Myron used a Snake River Farms Gold Grade Wagyu to do his.
Which I'm not using, but I'm getting one. I'm just not using it this time.
Well, Jeff and I are talking about buying gold grade wagyu sometime this summer, and we'll get together and do that maybe. That's an expensive brisket, and
218,
yeah, well, it depends on what size you buy. I'm not going to
15
buy the
pounds,
huge
218.
15 pound. I'd do that, and that would be one of the things where it's one off. I will do it once just to try it, because
It's one of those things you got to try.
the thing is I'm afraid of it, Jeff, because I might like it well enough that I wouldn't be willing to do another brisket
I
after
know
doing
that's
it.
my fear. That is really
Yeah,
my
I
fear.
don't
That
want to
once
get
I
hooked
do
on
this
doing.
A5, it's going to be all
Well, it's
bets
not
off
a
for
it's
Costco.
not A5. It's definitely
No,
not A5. It's American Wagyu, but it's something that if it spoils me on $200 brisket, then I'll probably quit eating brisket. because I'm
Yeah.
not going to spend two hundred
Or
dollars.
maybe it'll be a once a year nicety.
Well, it would be something that I might want to do. I might want to serve if I'm feeding a crowd of family or something and want to give them the
Mhm.
best. And I don't have a problem with that in those situations. I'm people get on me all the time about how much money I spend on some of the cuts I buy from Porter Road, but it's one of these deals where you know I cut corners where I think it's okay to cut corners, and over the last few years I've been very, I won't say hypersensitive, but I'm becoming more sensitive about the quality of food that I put on my own dinner table, and it's not it's not the dinner table's not somewhere where I really want to cut corners. It's like this hobby right here. I'm becoming a big fan of some good bourbons, and I could just as easily buy the $14 bottle of Jack Daniels instead of the $55 bottle of Jack Daniels. Uh, they're not the same. They are not the same. That's why I love that bottle so much. That's all the difference in the world in flavor and texture between that bottle and the typical Jack Daniel's Old Number Seven, which is still a good whiskey, but that's a great whiskey right there. And people who smoke cigars, they're not buying Swisher Sweets at the grocery store. They're buying some really nice Dominicans, or they're getting Cubans when they're able to do so. They're they're all about the quality, but they'll buy $1.99 ground beef every chance they get to put it on the dinner table. Bourbon, Eric, the cook. That's a great question. Jeff, you take that one, and then I'll take it too. Jeff, your mic's off.
The bourbon I use for cooking is the bourbon that I bought that I go, nah, don't really like it that much. That's my cooking bourbon.
Well, Eric, I use Jack Daniel's Old Number Seven. The stuff I used, the mixers that I used on this Osso Buco that I just did was exactly what Jeff said. It's a bottle that I bought to try, and I just wasn't a huge fan of it, so I'm cooking with it now. Uh, my mom, I gave my mom a bottle of Bullet single barrel. She's cooking with. I wasn't a fan of it, so my mom's got that. But uh, and this is something most chefs will tell you: don't buy expensive alcohols to cook with. It's not worth it. A lot of people will say if you wouldn't drink it, don't cook with it. I'm not like that because the nuances that are available in this bottle that are not available in the Jack Daniel's typical Old Number Seven is going to be lost in the cook. You won't be able to tell the difference. Uh, so Jack Daniel's Old Number Seven is a great whiskey for cooking. If you want to use a bourbon to cook with, just pick one you like Elijah Craig. Something that's easy to get. Uh, I don't know. There's all kinds of bourbons on the shelf. Ancient Age. That would be a good choice to cook with actually. Ancient Age or Benchmark. Those are the two entry level bourbons from Buffalo Trace, and they're easy to get. They actually taste good for what they are, and they're inexpensive, and you can find those in any liquor store. I don't know what it's like to buy liquor where you live, but uh, I wouldn't spend any excessive amount of money whatsoever on cooking bourbon or cooking wine. When I need wine to cook, I buy in my local grocery store the Sutter Home, the little 4-pack cartons of either a white or a red, depending on what I want. And I'm not a wine drinker, so I'm not sure how good those are, but they can't be great because they're cheap. But they work perfect for
They work.
cooking. Yeah, and uh, beer, on the other hand, if you're cooking with beer, uh, I don't know if that doesn't hold true for me so much with beer, because beers do have different flavors that they're bringing. Um, if I'm cooking like Guinness, for instance, there's not really a substitute out there for Guinness that's any less expensive than Guinness. You know what I'm saying, Jeff? You
Yep,
know,
absolutely. I mean,
uh,
if I'm cooking anything, like say the cottage pie, the shepherd's pie, or what, Osso Buco, it's Guinness. I mean,
there are other dark beers
that's my
out there
go-to.
that you could use, but I don't. Guinness is probably the cheapest of the stouts that you could cook
Hmm.
with. Anything else you buy in the world of stouts or imperial stouts are going to end up costing more than Guinness, because Guinness is not that expensive in the greater scheme of stout beers. Um, I like cooking with beers that are full bodied, rich, malty beers like Guinness, for instance. Uh, Another beer I like to cook. I like to cook with Samuel Adams. Or I'm sorry, not Sam. Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada makes several beers I like to cook with, and their typical pale ale is a really good beer to cook with. But their torpedo, if you want to if you want a little bit of a hop to show through in whatever you're cooking, that torpedo's fantastic. Uh,
And the IPAs are good too for cooking.
Yeah. Well, the torpedo is like an IPA, but it's a hoppier version of a typical IPA. Brats, Honorog likes Pabst Blue Ribbon, and that's fine with brats because when I do beer brats, I'm putting garlic in it, garlic and onion. So it doesn't really matter what beer I cook brats with because when you put garlic and onion in it, it doesn't matter. The beer is just bringing a sweetness to go along with it, and PBR will be
PBR
fine.
needs to be left in the horse.
Oh no, man, Jeff, PBR. Let me say this:
No, needs to
PBR.
be left in the horse.
No, PBR is an excellent example of an American light lager. It's as good as any of them. It's as good as Budweiser. It's as good. I'm gonna piss people off if I start comparing their beers. But PBR, I don't have a problem with PBR. I don't have a problem with Old Milwaukee. I don't have a problem with. Do they still make Strohs? Is that still out there?
I haven't seen that in a long time. You're going to hold that against me, huh, Hannah?
Hey, PBR
Hey,
works.
if that's the only thing you're going to hold against me, we're good to go.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Cook with what you're happy with. If you feel like you need a higher end bourbon to cook with, or let me tell you, I cheat. I'm guilty of cheating on video. And here's why. Up in my cabinet back here, I keep uh, I keep two liqueurs on hand at all times. Sometimes, most of the time, I have three, but I'm out of one of them right now. I keep uh, amaretto. I keep I keep Grand Marnier, and
Hmm.
I keep Frangelica. Frangelica is my hazelnut. My amaretto is my almond, and my Grand Marnier is my orange. Those are the liqueurs I like to have on hand to cook with. Now,
Well,
in the world of almond, the Di Serrano is the top dog in my opinion. It's the best, but it's stupid expensive. It's really expensive. I bought a bottle of regular amaretto, and I refilled my Di Serrano bottle with it.
Analog, I'll tell you what, try some Blue Moon. You'll like the orange note. Cook with that
Now,
once.
as far as Grand Marnier is concerned, you can use triple sec, and in
Yep.
terms of cooking, it's not going to make any difference. I actually found an alternative to Grand Marnier that I love, and it's called Grand Gala, and it's in a blue bottle, and it's every bit as good as Grand Marnier, and it's half the price. Yep, Scott, I'm with you there. That's fine. If you
Half
don't
the
want to
bottle
buy
goes
more,
in the cook, half the bottle goes in me.
yeah. And this six pack of Guinness that I've got sitting in my shelf back here is it's near a year old because I don't cook with it that often, and there's two bottles left in it, so I've had it forever. And
Scott, I didn't say for drinking, buddy. I said for cooking.
yeah,
It's a
it
whole different atmosphere.
it is, and I don't. I don't find the need to. I don't buy high end stuff for specifically for cooking. If I need it in a pinch and don't want to have to go get something, I might cook with something that costs a little more. So, uh,
Oh, analog
PBR.
PBR.
We need to get
Mm.
him on here with us one Friday night, Jeff.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we should. He Honorog guys. He cooks. He's
He,
one of these people out here that's way better at this than I am, and he
he does some good
he
stuff.
he puts together some dishes that I don't think they're way out of my league. And I would like to do him just like I did Glenn and down in Australia. I'd like to go pick his Facebook page with a bunch of pictures and bring him up here and just have him tell us about the cooks he's done. Maybe consider that, Honorog. If you'd like to come on here with me one Friday night, me and Jeff, let's do it. Let's talk about he cooks he cooks great stuff.
Crazy good.
Yeah.
Crazy great stuff.
All
Yeah.
right, we got to wrap up. I'm not going to run crazy long. I'm tired. I'm I'm ready to kick back and chill for a little while. So, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with us. If you have any special requests, I don't know what I'm going to do for my video cook next week yet. Next week will be our May, so I'm going to Jeff. We talked about using Argentina steak as the rub of
Yep.
the month for May.
What did we
So I'm
decide
probably,
on a sauce, or
huh?
did we? What did we decide on a sauce, or did we?
I'm probably going to take do one of the aiolis.
Okay. Oh, that's right. The bacon aioli is what we decided on.
Yeah, well, I'll do one of those aiolis as the sauce of the month for May, and for the gadget of the month for May. I'm not sure what we're going to do. Well, I'm not sure I understand the question, Greg.
Don't understand the question at all.
Can you elaborate? I'll be happy to tell you what I know. I'm not sure I understand what he's asking there. It's probably something to do comparing the classic Kamado. I don't know.
I mean, smoke is all relative. How much wood do you put in is how much smoke you're going to
Yeah,
get. You can overdo it or
I've
you can
done
underdo it.
I've done a lot of conversations about smoke. Um, Learning smoke is something that takes time. And there is a learning curve to getting the smoke level where you want it on about anything.
And less
There's
is
one,
more.
there's one fact in the process, and that fact is that too little smoke's never going to get you in trouble. Too much smoke will make people not want to eat your cooking again. So keep
Yep.
that in mind.
Eating out of an ashtray is not a good thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jeff, let's wrap this, and
Cool.
we will come back next Friday night, and we'll have another drink and have another
Everybody
conversation.
make plans to go to the AGC show.
Uh,
We're going to have
Eric has
fun.
been, yeah, Eric's been down in Florida making videos this week, but I'm hoping life's getting ready to ease up for him. He's been crazy busy, and it looks like we get him on here. Okay, seems like smoke awesome at first, but then it calmed out. That's fine. Don't do anything. This is a what I call this is something that happens to new people in the Kamado world. When you stop seeing the smoke coming out of the smoker, it doesn't mean that it's not there. Trust that it's there. You don't need to be able to see it all the time. As the airflow changes and gets going, you won't see it as much, but it's there.
Yeah,
Trust,
and
trust.
when your wood first starts up, you're going to get a lot of smoke from it because
Yeah,
it's going to engulf in flames. It's going to put out a lot of smoke, and then when that dies down, you're going to get that
yeah.
nice smoke. So
don't
less is
don't
more.
worry about adding smoking wood when you quit seeing the smoke. Just trust that it's there, and it'll be there. Spread Put a couple of different wood chunks in your firebox in a couple of different places where it won't all come together at once, and you'll have smoke throughout your cook. Like I said, you don't have to see it to know that it's there. It'll be there, and plus your charcoal's producing some smoke as well. So anyway, we're done, guys. Look forward to seeing you next week. And if you can do it, make a $5 or $10 or more contribution to the World Central Kitchen fundraiser on the Man Cave Meals Facebook page, guys. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good weekend.